Up until 9/11, I was in perfect health. I never even took medication. Maybe a couple of vitamins, and that was about it. On the morning of September 11th, after the first plane hit, I got a phone call from a friend of mine who told me that a plane struck the World Trade Center towers. I put on the TV, and of course, you saw that image of the plane flying into the first tower. So I immediately got dressed and headed into work. I was living in Levittown at the time in Long Island. So on my way there, I was on the Grand Central Parkway doing about 100 miles an hour, and a state trooper came alongside of me, and I just showed him my badge. I held it up, and he gave me a wave like this to follow him, and he threw on his lights and sirens and escorted me all the way into Queens, which was really nice. So anyway, when I got to quarters at the precinct, there were about 4 or 5 other police officers who also came in from home. We gathered up some equipment in some of the spare vehicles that we had, and we all caravanned into Manhattan. We got there just about when the second tower collapsed. We were caught in the debris field. Some of us had our gas masks with us because as emergency service unit officers, we carry gas masks because we're also the SWAT team, so we disperse tear gas if needed. So we were lucky enough to have that, and I put my gas mask on. How much it did, I have no idea, because I do suffer from lung problems. But we were there before the second tower collapsed, probably until about 2 o'clock in the morning the next day. The emergency service unit of the New York City Police Department is an extremely small group. There's only 350 to 400 of us out of 30,000 police officers. So, as you can imagine, the camaraderie there is pretty intense. We all do a lot of training together. If there's a big job in New York City, everybody responds and we see each other. Our wives were friends. We hung out after work. We went out on weekends and things of that nature. It's like family. The 14 guys that we lost were the first ones who got down there on 9/11. They actually formed 2 teams of 7 in each building, and they were in the towers when the towers collapsed. They were actually on their way out. They were trying to get out of the building because our aviation unit, which was flying up above, saw the top of the building shift a little, and they said, "Get out of the building. It looks like it has a potential to collapse." So our guys were on their way down. We know that because we had radio contact with them. They just never made it out. This was March 11 of 2002, 6 months after the towers collapsed. Me, some firefighters, and other emergency service personnel were still digging through the debris, and here, this is me. I found a pair of men's pants, and I went through them trying to find any kind of personal belongings. And this was taking a break down at Ground Zero, and you can see my eyes are like half closed there because we were working 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, very little sleep. And around the end of 2002, beginning of 2003, I started to find myself getting very depressed. I was driving my car down the road wherever I was going to or coming from, and I would start crying and pull over to the side of the road and just cry. I also started drinking pretty heavily, and I was never a drinker. It got to the point where I was drinking just about every day. I was fighting with my, she's now my wife, but fiance at the time. I was punching holes through the walls of my house. I had anger, rages. So my wife, being a medical professional, suggested that I might have post-traumatic stress. I never thought that would be possible because in ESU we deal with death and destruction on a daily basis, and I've done it for my whole career. So I took her advice and I sought some counseling. I was given a test to determine whether I have post-traumatic stress or not, and the test came back positive. The main reason that I have post-traumatic stress is not because of what I saw down there, but because 14 of my friends were killed on that day. 14 guys that I worked with on a daily basis and were like brothers to me. So I took it quite personally. I'd gone with my wife, fiance at the time, to Mohegan's Sun. And about midnight that night that we got there, I started to get pain in my stomach. The pain wasn't a normal stomachache type of pain. It was up higher, like right underneath the sternum, and it wouldn't go away. So my wife took me to the emergency room in Connecticut, Backus Hospital, and they hooked me up to IVs. They took blood, and they saw that my white blood cell count was extremely elevated, which meant I had some kind of an infection going on inside. They put me on heavy-duty antibiotics, and I wound up going home the next day. I've had probably 7 or 8 of the same type of episodes of severe gastro pain. I've gone for several different tests. I've seen several different gastroenterologists, and they found that I have GERD, pretty bad GERD, reflux disease, a hiatal hernia, pockets of diverticuli, but they never were able to really give me a definitive diagnosis as to what was causing that pain. I lived with it. I still live with it. I have gastrointestinal problems right to today. I've also been diagnosed as having exercise-induced asthma. I have scarring on one of my lungs. I have nodules on the other. The gastrointestinal problems, the post-traumatic stress. Anyway, this is my personal medicine cabinet. Nothing of my son's or my wife's is in here. I have my blood pressure medication, my Nexium. This, which I didn't mention before, is Ritalin, which I'm taking to help me concentrate, because since 9/11 I haven't been able to read a book. I haven't been able to, I'm not able to take care of my bills by myself. I just seem to not care anymore about anything. I have some natural holistic medication that I take to help my stomach, omega-3 fish oil and stuff like that. It took several years for them to actually come out and say that they believe it has something to do with ground zero. I mean, most of the illnesses that I have, actually all the illnesses that I have, are on the 9/11 presumption bill, which says that if you never had these illnesses before and you work down at ground zero or the morgues or Staten Island landfill and you have it after 9/11, it's presumed that you got it from 9/11. I haven't been able to work. I did when I retired. I went back to working at St. John's Hospital on the ambulance for about 3 months after I retired, and I just couldn't do it anymore. I told my partner, I can't do this kind of work anymore.
How difficult was that?
It was really difficult, terrible. I didn't realize how hard it was going to be. I was an EMT and a paramedic since I'm 18 years old. For the first time in my life, my cards are expired and I didn't get them refreshed. I just cannot do that kind of work anymore. I'm so burnt out from 9/11 that I'm not the same person that I was. I would be very happy if I just continue going on the course I'm going right now. If I can stay as healthy as I am right now, I'll be happy about that. I'll accept that. I've seen too many other friends of mine, too many other people who actually spent a lot less time down at ground zero than I did, who have cancer, and even some that have already passed away. So, you know, I wake up every morning, even though I have all these ailments, I consider myself extremely lucky compared to a lot of people that I know. I have nothing life-threatening. Can it turn life-threatening? Sure. That's why I say, if I can stay the course that I am right now for the next 5 years, I'd be extremely happy.